All right, welcome to Out of the Blue from the Block M Podcast Network, part of the Fan First Sports Network. A day may come when this podcast fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship, but it is not this day. An hour of Wolverines and shattered dreams when this podcast comes crashing down, but it is not this day. I am Jared Stormer of the Block M Podcast Network and MaizenBrew.com. With me, as always, is Andy Bailey, my hetero life mate of the same place and time. Andy Bailey couldn't stop at 3 or 4 whiskey sours. He had to have 8. How you been, brother? Good to see you again from back stateside.
I'm good, man. It's good to have you back recording on a normal schedule again. Got everything set up. Got your great background again. It feels like we're back at it.
Back in the swing of things. I am back from across the pond and really nothing to talk about Michigan football-wise, so I figure we do 45 minutes on the Trey Young trade, maybe a couple of our favorite librettos from any old Wagners, and then call it a day. What do you think?
Some thoughts on ciabatta bread and the sands of Savannah, but besides that, I think that sounds good to me.
I'm a vacation man, so right off the bat, we disagree. No, man, this is a loaded podcast. If you've been following, there is an egregious amount of roster turnover, some good, some bad, actually quite a bit good. This is going to be a net positive podcast, I think. So a ton to get through. So before we get to that, got to touch the banner, get through some of these quick hits here. Let's start with the college football playoff. We have our national championship game set. It is going to be Indiana versus Miami, just like we all drew it up at the beginning of the year. Indiana football, an unstoppable juggernaut. I think it was Todd McShay said the greatest coaching performance of his lifetime that he's seen this year from Cignetti. Who am I to disagree? I think I would agree. And Indiana absolutely destroyed Oregon, man. The Ole Miss Miami game was a really good one of the better playoff games that we've had. But Indiana is a wagoon.
This team has no 5 stars and 7 4 stars.
Silly. I don't understand it.
It doesn't make any sense. And I want to pose this to you: is Cignetti saving college football with Indiana winning through development and chemistry, coaching over talent accumulation in a way we've never seen? I mean, not to this degree from everybody else, but do you think this will lead other coaches to devalue spending top NIL dollars on all-star teams and look more closely at spreading the wealth on lower rated guys who are going to stick around?
Yeah, it's interesting. It is a copycat league like all major sports are. So I think regardless of what should happen, I think this is what will happen is teams are going to look at this more so like an NBA roster and be like, here's our salary cap. We need to make sure we've got a couple stars or star adjacent guys in key places. Then we need to build out the roster. Now you can have your opinions on if that's overall better for college football. It's certainly different. But the way Cignetti is doing it is going to be attempted to be emulated. I think you need to have a Cignetti-like figure in order to make this work. Getting excellent players, getting star players is still going to matter. There's still going to be a push for that. And as we get into our discussion about our roster, you'll see the emphasis on getting highly recruited guys. But Cignetti marches to the beat of his own drum, man. I don't know if it's recreatable, but it's going to be imitated.
I mean, we talk about the lower rated stars and everything else, but it's also driven and the ship is steered by the probable number 1 pick in the NFL draft in Fernando Mendoza. So it's like you still have players like that. And I'm just waiting for the other side of this. Like there is a PR home run sitting there for a top end recruit to reject NIL and commit to a school because he wants to spread the money around and build a championship team. Like sort of the Tom Brady strategy of like taking a less salary so it goes to more guys. And I'm just waiting for that to happen. I know it's coming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it would make sense because it's basically become professional football at this point for all intents and purposes when you have re-signings and stuff like that. And Damon Williams threatening to leave Washington and then like legal action is threatened against him. He drops his representation and comes back to Washington.
His representation drops him.
Oh, excuse me, vice versa. I'm sure there'll be nothing awkward about those practices come fall camp. So it's a bizarre time for college football. Cignetti rewriting the rule book. I'm pro everything that's happening there. The fact that Indiana needs to win, I think it's 129 or 189 more games to get back to 500 overall. And yet this year they're just an unstoppable juggernaut. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. And something we'll talk about in the offseason, I think, is more big picture, like what is the state of college football. It's different. There's more parity than ever. And yet I think most college football fans would say we're not in a great place. but it's certainly an interesting place. And I feel very good about my Fernando Mendoza stock early in the year. I was
You
very high
loved
on
him in the
him.
offseason. There's
I
your guy.
did, but then the exact same breath, I hated Carson Beck, and that's your matchup in the national championship. So what the hell do I know?
You got a prediction?
Uh, you think I'm going against Indiana? I think Indiana rolls. I think Indiana wins by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I have Indiana 38-17. I don't think it's
Yeah.
close.
I don't think it's close either. They're a dramatically better team. I mean, props to what Manny Diaz has done at Miami. That defense is
Crystal
much
ball.
better. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm going back in time there. But like props to that defense in particular, which I think is a real unit. And some of those guys really have shown out. And like I know we had our Bane criticism
Mhm.
early on, but that guy's an impact player. So, but yeah, give me Indiana in that one. Let's keep it pushing here. Michigan officially hires a new university president, former chancellor of Syracuse University, Kent Severud?
Good job.
Severud?
This is going to
I
be
don't
a
know.
podcast of pronunciations for you.
Of absolutely obliterating and butchering names. I haven't heard this one said by anyone yet, so I don't know. Just going best guess. John U. Bacon says it's a good hire. So, like you say, inclined to agree with the bacon.
Yeah, AD decision is what we're really waiting on after this. If Ward's going to be retained, most expect the investigation to be concluded and him to be let go, but we'll see.
I would also bank on that. It wouldn't really make much sense. And with the new president, I'm sure he wants to get his guy in there,
That's the
wash
thing.
his
Yeah.
hands of the weirdness.
Yep.
And if the last thing that Ward Manuel did was give us Dusty May and Kyle Whittingham, could be worse. Could be worse, man. You'll at least you go out on a good note, and I will do you the service of not making fun of you on this podcast anymore. I just won't discuss you ever again. Again, it ever happens.
Just leave you alone.
I'm just going to leave you alone. Boise State co-DC Tyler Stockton hired as safeties coach. You have any time to dig into this?
I love this move. I think
Okay.
I like separating safeties and corners instead of just having one secondary coach because I think they're very different positions. Safeties are kind of like the tight end of the defense because you got to really be able to do both. You got to stop the run. You got to play in the pass a lot. So you have a good balance there. And I like what he's done at Boise State, man. I like the emphasis on getting young guys in the secondary, all to fit one vision. But it seems like there's going to be a lot of energy and a lot of juice in this room.
Yeah, the reverse gold rush, the West coming east, all these
Mhm.
guys from out in the West coming back east to Ann Arbor, significantly flatter in Ann Arbor, but I think more to do. So they're going to enjoy their time there, really rounding out this coaching staff with some guys that are proven across multiple different teams. I like what I'm seeing as well from this staff. On the player personnel, there's going to be a lot of player movement stuff. As this was a commit, wanted to touch on 4-star defensive back Andre Clark being released from his letter of intent to Michigan. I don't really have much to add there, as there's just way more impactful stuff to talk about when we get into some of this roster stuff. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I still can't believe the recruiting class impact hasn't been worse.
Yeah, mostly intact, the all name class, baby, which you absolutely love. And yeah, that's a good point. And something that we were talking about a few podcasts ago is that Michigan likes to think that they're different and we can weather things in a different manner. With the way that this roster's taking shape, it appears that we have. It appears that Michigan is on a different plane of existence than a lot of these teams, because this could have been way worse,
Oh
particularly
yeah,
with this recruiting class.
I think it just speaks to Whittingham, his staff, and just how hard they've how fast they've hit the ground running with everything, making sure the guys stick, trying to keep everything together, hitting the point, hitting all. I mean, for his first ever press tour in his career, I thought he's knocked it out of the park. Especially for a 66-year-old. Like, you've never had to do this before. You never had to go
Yeah.
on Rich Eyes and bust him with the boys and hit all the sound bites and answer all the questions. I thought he's passed with flying colors. And on top of that, he's having to balance roster construction, player retention, this class of guys he does not know at all. Masterful job.
Yeah, it's a master class. And at Michigan, man, you're going to need to go talk to Stephen A. Smith and like all the ESPN
Yeah.
guys. At Utah, like you had to go to Lenny's garage and like do like a little like do like a podcast or something, like dramatically different at here at the University of Michigan, and he's handled it with flying colors. Let's keep it pushing here. Michigan, former Michigan tight end Colston Loveland in the playoff game for the disgusting, much hated Chicago Bears. 137 yards on 8 catches, second most receiving yards by a rookie tight end in history, second most receiving yards in a game by a rookie tight end in NFL history. I pose to you this: if he would have stayed one more year, does he leave as the greatest tight end in Michigan history?
No,
Still no?
still no. There's
Okay.
just too much ground to make up. I mean, Ron Kramer, what he did in the NFL, he's in the Packers Ring of Honor. Like, he was a stud. I believe he was he beat like, the first Mackey Award winner. I don't think that was around yet, but he beat out John Mackey, beat out Mike Ditka at a time for some awards, like very prestigious. Like tight end's one of the tough ones at Michigan. Like he's probably right there on the top 5. We have to also remember Colson Loveland's last year at Michigan was well below his sophomore season at Michigan.
Yeah, nope, that's totally fair. And I misspoke. It was the most in a playoff, second most by a rookie tight end in NFL history. So,
I maybe it's just the Lions in me, but I hate how much I'm enjoying Ben Johnson's post game stuff. I'm like, man, this looks like fun. I like how
yeah,
mean you are to Matt LaFleur. I want to be that mean to Matt LaFleur. Like, it just looks like a great time. And then Colson Loveland's balling out for him. I'm like, so conflicted.
I'm not me. I absolutely hate the Bears and I hate Ben Johnson, but I want Colston Loveland to have success. So that's where I'm at. But I mean, against the Packers, like, can they both lose? I don't give a damn at all about
Is
that.
Bane
But
available? Where is he?
yeah, blow up the field, Dark Knight Rises style. Let's keep it pushing here. Women's basketball, man. They destroy Penn State 105-65 and then beat Wisconsin by 26. Absolute wagon status there. They play Illinois next, and then it gets more difficult. Schedule finishes with 9 ranked opponents in their final 12 games. That is a gauntlet.
Yeah, and the 3 games that aren't ranked opponents, those are all on the road conference games. So there are there are just no layups the rest of the season for this team, but they're ready for it, man. I wrote an article last week on MazingBrew.com. Check it out, comparing them to the best team in Michigan women's history. That was a team from just a few years ago with Naz Hillman. They went all the way to the Elite Eight. This team's better, surpasses them in every metric, the balance, the scoring, and they're still getting better. Like this is just the beginning of this team. Like they're still going to grow. The women, I believe, were just on the cover of Slam U magazine. Silas Swords, Olivia Olson, and Mila Holloway. A nice breakdown in there about them and what they're bringing to the team and the juice and the energy around the program. So exciting team to watch, man. Like the end of the schedule gets really hard, but this team is really good.
No layups left except for Silas Swords, who just does that.
Hoops.
About that life. Hoops. Absolutely love it. Cannot wait for tournament play, man. We're going to be able to go back to back women's, men, both in the tournament, both high seeds. It's going to be an elite spring, my friend, an elite spring. Less elite news here. I'm going to leave this to you to talk about hockey. This bummed me out, and I'm nowhere near the Michigan hockey fan you are.
God, hide the butter knives. Hockey sweeps Notre Dame in its first series back from winter break, moves to 18-4, matching the win total from last season. Should be celebrating right now. This is joyous, a great turnaround. But it looks like they lose Jack Ivankovic for the rest of the season. After sustaining an injury in the second game on a, questionable, some would say dirty, I would say just completely
Didn't look like a hockey play.
didn't look like a hockey play to me. Could have done something to avoid that. It looks like Ivan Kovic's going to be done for a while. Brandon Dorado after the game said he's going to be out for, quote, a long time.
Sounded so depressed saying it too.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt depressed watching it. I felt depressed listening to it. Michigan's back in action against Ohio State next week. Then has a bye week. But then the Big Ten schedule gets hard again. It's the best conference in hockey. And I feel like a national championship was stolen from this team because I don't think they can win it with Peck and net compared to Ivan Kovic, who is a generational type of goaltender for Michigan. He's only a freshman, so his career is far from done. It would be much more devastating had he been a senior, but it still sucks, man. It feels like this was ripped from them. We'll see how they respond. Maybe they can just outscore everybody with that top-ranked offense, but it's a lot harder now without your backstop goalie.
It's like when Corum went down against Illinois, and you're just like, we're just getting robbed of Corum versus Ohio State. Like, why would you do this to me, God?
It's a great comp. I'll never forget you and I. Like, normally you'll go off the rails before me a little bit. I'll try to help you back on. And you were falling off the rails. And you're like, should I be feeling like this? And I'm like, ring the damn bells. We are screwed. We are in trouble. And that's kind of how I feel with this one. But I mean, if you want some glass half full, again, the team is great. It's not just Ivan Kovic. They're going to do whatever they can to mitigate this loss. Narado, in good news, has signed an extension through 2030. So Ward really trying to check all the boxes to keep the old job. On the same day a new president gets signed, he's like, "Oh yeah, Narado, who I hired. Don't check the timeline on that, and I extended him. We have him now till 2030. So look at me." So I guess shout out to Ward on that one.
Yeah, in between smoking bongs and eating meatball subs in his office, he's doing some good stuff out there. Say what you will about the man. Men's basketball, they survived Penn State 74-72, which, I mean, it was a squeaker. And after the run of dominance, kind of knew something like that was coming. But then they follow it up with another, I wouldn't say it was necessarily even a bad game. What happened against Wisconsin was a little bit more about what Wisconsin did than Michigan did not do. But first loss of the season comes to Wisconsin. And after back-to-back games where it's like, all right, like this is looking a little shakier again, Michigan kind of needs to reset a little
Yeah.
bit here and get back to doing what was working.
Yeah, that's what it really feels like in this one. Like you saw the ink a little bit like the openings of it against Penn State. You thought they were going in the right direction against Wisconsin, 14-point lead early in the first half, but then foul trouble hits. And then Wisconsin just turns into the 2015 Golden State Warriors in the second half. And credit to Michigan, man. They found a way to fight. Elliot Cadeau kind of single-handedly keeping Michigan in this game. The team trying a bunch of different things on defense to figure it out. Still comes down to the final possession. But I love what Dusty May said after the game. Like you could see the defensive intensity ratchet up in the last 5 to 7 minutes. And with great teams, it should be like that the entire game. An increase that drastic should not be that visible.
Yeah, and I mean, this roster has everything that it needs to compete with anyone. But if I had to pick at the beginning of the season, if you're like, all right, if you had to find a weakness, it would be perimeter defense from your guards and small forwards. Like and like obviously, you don't expect there to be a lot of fives out there that can bomb away. But then with a Mara too, you certainly don't want that guy guarding out on the perimeter. It's kind of just Yaxel and Mojo that you trust out there is like perimeter defenders, and that's only against a certain type of player. I don't know if you want Mojo matched up against speedy guards or Yaxel matched up against speedy guards. So we'll see how they adjust. Obviously, Wisconsin was just hot from three, and this one couldn't miss a damn shot. So I still think that this roster has everything that it needs to compete for a national championship. I'm not going to all of a sudden reverse course when we were saying, could this be the greatest Michigan basketball team ever assembled because of two bad performances? But got to reset a little bit here. And how much was that injury still nagging on Yaxel and stuff like that? So, get him back to 100% and get back on the wagon.
I mean, Wisconsin shot 46% from three in this game and had been shooting 28% in Big Ten play coming into this. Like they just got hot. And Michigan needs to find a way to overcome that because the same thing can happen in a tournament. Like that's the beauty of the NCAA tournament where one team can just get hot and take over. So they have to find ways to correct this. And I'm glad you can take your lumps now when you have time to remedy that. But they're going to have to find answers in a tough situation this week as they go on the road to Washington and then with the back to back on the West Coast road trip to Oregon.
Yeah, and somehow Nebraska, the lone remaining undefeated. Actually, isn't Indiana undefeated as well? Yeah, so Nebraska in no,
Is
no, no, not
Indiana?
not
No,
in, no,
no, no,
no, no, no, they're
no.
not. It's just Nebraska. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure undefeated in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
Which,
Indiana's 8th in the Big Ten.
yeah, yeah, there you go. I was thinking of their football team, Wagon.
Yeah, honestly, fair.
Anything else on basketball? Any other news nuggets you wanted to touch on before we get into the bulk of this podcast, which is going to be discussing what the hell this roster is going to look like next year?
No, I think we covered it, man.
Let's get into this, man. How do you want to go about this discussion? Because I don't want to just read down a list. I don't want to just say, here's who's going, here's who's staying. Do you want to maybe could we do an impromptu draft?
I'm
draft
always
up.
down.
Come on, baby.
My favorite 5-letter word, draft. Let's go.
All right. So we're going to go back and forth and we're going to draft as far as what we deem most important. It can be an important outgoing or important incoming. And I'm going to give you first pick as you gave me first pick last week, sir.
Sounds great. No hesitation, no thought needed. Samaj Morgan leaving the program. Let's go.
Number one draft pick, Samaj Morgan out. Do we know where he's going yet?
Going.
Is it UCLA?
No,
Jesus.
UCLA.
UCLA.
Is it UCLA? It probably
I thought
is.
I heard that. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Tony, would you mind checking that, brother?
Bob
I think
Chesney's
it's
going to be really
UCLA.
upset.
Yeah, I mean, go enjoy that 4-win team there, brother. You
That's
play
fun.
like you belong in a 4-win team. All right, so coming to me, I will say next most important for me, give me John Henry Daly, defensive end from Utah, coming into a defensive line that we had bolded in our document as the most important need on this team, along with defensive tackle, but just generally along the defensive line, someone to come in and replace Derek Moore. But brother, John Henry Daly is going to come in and be better than Derek Moore ever will be immediately. All-American, started 11 games at defensive end, all Big 12 first team by league's coaches, Bednarik Award semifinalist. season totals this year: 48 tackles, 17 and a half tackles for loss, and 11 and a half sacks. That will freaking do. His name is also John Henry. This man's never heard of having a neck. His neck is thicker than Justice Haynes' body. And I already got a nickname for him. In American mythos, John Henry, the man who beat the machine, known as the Steel Driver. So how about the Steel Driver for John Henry Daly?
It works in two ways. This is a perfect nickname because if you remove the Henry, it's John Daly,
John
like
Daly,
the golfer.
my favorite golfer ever. Yeah. The grip it and rip it golfer that's out there with a
Steel
SIG.
Driver. It fits. It's a double entendre. It's perfect.
Oh, I love it. This is going to be one of our favorite players next year.
Hands down.
Immediately, he's going to go very high in our spring draft, if not like top 3 picks. Shout out to that, which can't wait for that sometime in April, and could be a first rounder next year. Going to change the impact, the immediate look of this defense right out of the gate. Immediately becomes, if not the best player on this defense, he's not far behind. It'd be him and a healthy Rod Moore. If you have a healthy Rod Moore, those are the names we're looking at. This is a massive get.
He's that good. Like you're not overselling it. He is a stud. This is a massive pickup. Next one for me is Jake Guarnera staying at Michigan, leaving the transfer portal and coming back. Because if you look at this roster, they are devoid of a lot of natural interior offensive linemen, especially ones that can play center. And I think with his experience, with his just, I don't know, comfort with the linemen around him in this room, I think it's a massive retention for him because when he entered the portal, unlike Sprague, who it was nice to get back as well, just because you have a guy with some experience, Guarnera positionally is so much more valuable to this team.
I like that. Didn't expect you to go there, but yeah, Guarnera, man, like, especially since I was a little nervous about what was going to happen on the interior of this offensive line, having a guy that can play at a couple different spots, familiar with his quarterback as well, with Bryce Underwood. So if this is your starting center, that's absolutely massive. We'll talk about another player coming in a similar position, but yeah, that's a big one, man. Next for me, I'm gonna cheat a little bit, but also we need to move through this. There's a lot of names here. Jair Hill and Zeke Berry, both coming back.
Zeke was going to be my next one because you could kind of move him around at safety, nickel, or corner if need be. Yeah.
Yeah, this is huge, man. Between John Henry Daly and then having both of your corners back, that's the start of your defense. There's something to build upon. I don't know how good it is. We'll see how they round out. We're going to talk about what positions are still needed, and there's definitely a glaring hole there, but it's not in the secondary anymore. And you're bringing back both your starters, guys that I think we were both mostly happy with. I don't want to speak for you, but I mean, it felt like a solid B season from both of these guys this year.
Yes. No, this is big. This is big just because it just gives you some familiarity. Experience is the biggest thing here. These guys are 2-year starters now, entering their third with the NFL draft. Both of them probably could have left. I believe they got it would never be announced, but the NFL advisory committee that's set up that either gives you one of 3 grades. It's either first round, second round, or go back to school. It wouldn't surprise me if both of them got the go back to school grade. And then enter the portal just in case to see what's happening, how it shakes free. This is massive, especially with a new position coach. I was very surprised to get both back.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of figured on this podcast, we're like, yeah, likely you lose one of them. So to get both back and have your secondary intact, now we don't need to go get a starting defensive back, which there's a couple guys out there, but pickings are a little slim out there in the transfer portal for defensive back. So this is huge.
How does this pronunciation come to me? My pick, Jonah Lele.
Leia? I think it's Leia.
Leia? Well, Jonah is a massive asset to this defensive line because our defensive tackle depth is in shambles right now. And just getting an experienced body in there that has produced at a high level understands Kyle Whittingham the way he does business. I think this is a massive get because right now, the only defensive tackles that have played at Michigan are Trey Pierce, Manny Biggs, and Benny Patterson. So getting somebody in there that's had some experience, especially in the trenches, you want to solidify both lines of scrimmage. This is a massive one.
Yeah, we've hit this one over the head a lot, just how barren our defensive tackle room is. So this guy comes in and starter day one, 6'5", 285 pounds, a sophomore, so he can stick around for a little bit, 38 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. Not necessarily like a dominant season, but a couple years to grow, sticking with his
good season for a sophomore.
A good season for a sophomore, big, and he's going to be a run stuffer in there for us. So this was where I was going to go next. I totally agree with you there. I'm going to cheat again because it's the combination of both of them leaving that is going to be my first negative here. And that's going to be Cole Sullivan to Oklahoma, Jimmy Rolder to the NFL draft.
Mm.
Much like defensive backs, I thought we'd get one of them back, and the opposite of defensive back, we lose them both. Not sure what Jimmy Rolder, what kind of advice he got. I'm a little surprised by that one. The Cole Sullivan one is what it is, going to Oklahoma to play for Venables. We will see him this year, so I hope it goes
Yes.
poorly for him. But yeah, now linebacker, big gaping hole there at linebacker with both of these guys off the roster.
Well, we had a fair trade for Cole Sullivan, and we'll see if he still plays run defense like he's blindfolded when Taylor Tatum is coming at him, added to Michigan's roster coming over from Oklahoma. I think this is huge for the depth of the position, especially when you lose a Justice Haynes, a Bryson Cusdahl. You need another body in there, especially the way Jason Beck likes to run the ball so much in his offense, especially a lot of power. You're going to be taking some hits. And Tatum was a highly touted running back. I believe he was the number one running back in his class. So to come here with Tony Alford, he's going to take some strides. Oklahoma couldn't run the ball worth a damn last year. No running back could. So I don't blame him for getting out of there. I think he's going to have a early career resurgence in this offense and be a huge contributing factor and help take some carries away from Savion Hyder as a freshman, just to balance it out a little bit.
Yeah, so now you have Hyder and Tatum, both the highest recruited running backs of their respective classes. That is an insane amount of talent to add to Jordan Marshall. And I'll just go here next. I don't necessarily know if it is here on my rankings, but Justice Haynes has announced that he will be transferring. Watch out for Georgia Tech there. I think once Tatum came on board, you really saw the writing on the wall. Tatum much younger, so more eligibility at Michigan. So if you had to make this deal, I think you would make this deal again to get the long. I mean, we know what we have with Marshall.
Yeah.
Hyder is about as can't miss of a prospect as there is. So it's a bummer to lose Haynes, but you bring in Tatum. We know what we're getting with Hyder. We know what we have with Marshall. This remains an absolutely loaded backfield. So bummer to lose Haynes. Interested to see if Georgia Tech is the move. That sounds a lot like Bagman got the bag there, but who am I to hate on that?
I'll hate on it. Don't worry. I'll cover it for the both
Sure.
of us.
That's what you do.
If people are wondering why we're not drafting Bryce Underwood, we're trying to stick to players that were actually in the portal. So like Andrew Babalola won't be drafted, Blake Frazier, other names like that. But
Andrew Marsh,
obviously, left tackle, quarterback would carry a lot of weight in this conversation if we were drafting them. Next, I don't know if it's really a duo. They both kind of came like back to back with just addressing the receiver room with JJ Buchanan and is it Jamie or Jaime double F French? Like,
I really hope it's not Jaime for French. That would really upset me. I'm not going to say that.
What does Jamie French do? If I told you I have a guy, it sounds like a flautist, like my friend Jamie French here.
He's a cellist.
Not
a very good one.
Thought he was a woodwinds man. Yeah, so highly touted receiver, and this was a big Andrew Marsh co-recruitment. That's what this one was. Both have Texas roots. He was big on this, like especially on the visit. So I think this is massive to the room. And you look at the wide receiver room compared to last season. So Michigan loses Donovan McCulley, Fred Moore, Samaj Morgan. Peyton O'Leary entered the portal today, but didn't really play last season. And you bring in Travis Johnson, and then you sign Braden Alford, Jaime for French, and then JJ Buchanan, who is a massive wide receiver, has played some tight end. So I think there's going to be some positional versatility with him, which I really like.
Real
because
weapon.
it brings an element this offense doesn't have because you look at the room around them and it's still Andrew Marsh, Channing Goodwin, Kendrick Bell, Jamar Browder, a healthy Amarian Stewart, who kind of had this year stolen from him due to injury. So like, I'm really looking forward to see what this room does with I think a better developmental position coach as well.
Yeah, arguably the worst room in the Big Ten last year. I'll be interested to see how high it can get in the Big Ten this year, but it is not going to be the worst. I promise you that. I don't think we saw much of French in this season, but it's more just kind of based on the recruiting profile and hoping that he can be something. Buchanan, however, we've seen. Like that guy has gone out there, and that's going to be a real threat. What are the measurables on Buchanan? Let me see if I can pull that up real quick while we're talking about this, because certainly
over 200 pounds, 6'4", 208 on ESPN.
That's a large wide receiver, my friend.
That's a man. And then like you bring him out there with Jamar Browder, who's 6'4", 6'5" ish. Then you have Andrew Marsh. You know what you have in him, and just a complete weapon. And then Channing Goodwin, a little shorter, offered the shortest, but we think it's more of a nepo transfer. We're not hating.
Eh,
And then it's a nice balance because Daniel Jeremiah always talks about it's nice to have a wide receiver room that resembles a basketball roster where you have heights of all different sizes. And for years, it felt like Michigan was held back by just short receivers, similar to how the basketball team was held back by undersized guards.
Yeah, no, that's a great call out there. So I'm excited about this room. It'll be a fun one, a really fun room with like a proven, I wouldn't say superstar, but a star in the making in Andrew Marsh. Really high
I'd
potential
say
in
superstar.
French. Yeah, I love it. There he is. Come on,
Come on.
shovel it into me. Go feed me.
We're,
You know how I
we're
feel
back.
about
You're
this.
stateside,
We're
baby.
back.
We're back.
We never left. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll keep pushing through this roster. A lot more to break down. We'll keep drafting it up. We'll be back right after this. All right, we are back. We are righteous men. At times, the transfer portal is very good, and at times it taketh away. I think you're up next, brother. Where do you want to go here? Drafting up our most impactful departures and arrivals.
You're up. I just took the
I'm up.
French.
Oh, okay. My apologies there. All right. Where do I want to go here? I think I will go. This one hurts me. This one really hurts me and could have easily gone higher, but because those other guys coming back, it helps. My boy, my absolute son, Jaden Sanders, transferring out of the program and not only transferring, going to Notre Dame, not on the schedule at least. And I mean, he's going to go do great things with Marcus Freeman there, but it hurts me. I don't like it. And he was the cornerback of the future. So now we have to hit the recruiting trail and get somebody to fill in as he is leaving the program. Was hoping maybe there was a chance to get him back, but alas.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference in money on that one as well. Trying to get him back,
Could be.
talk him into it. Zeke and Jair coming back definitely threw a wrench into that as well. But to balance it out there, get a positive. Also, hopefully Marcus Freeman can stop fighting wrestling coaches. Um, Jordan Young out of the portal, baby, and is
Let's go.
back with this team next season. Could be a starter. Would not surprise me with the departure of a Brandon Hillman, who there's some reports it wasn't so good back there. So with Jordan Young back in the bill, I love what he did in the Citrus Bowl. I think he has a lot of potential for this team. And you look at the starting secondary, and you start to feel really good, especially factoring it, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, spin in a circle, a healthy Rod Moore. But like, there's a lot of things to like about this starting secondary, but depth, as you talked about with Jaden Sanders, still something that needs to be addressed. But the Jordan Young return is massive for this group.
It is, yeah. And Jordan Young, you were breaking down some of his tape in the bowl game, and
Good.
just from what I saw from him this year, there's a lot to like. I mean, for a
Yeah.
true freshman to go out there, more instinctual than Brandon Hillman ever was, and like more of a true safety. Brandon Hillman just hits like a ton of bricks, and I'm a simple man, and I like that.
Fair.
But well-rounded safety, he was not. Jordan Young projects to be a more well-rounded safety and is likely the future of the position along with Mason Curtis back there.
Yes.
So to me next, I'm going to go kind of an interesting one. This one came through, and you and I haven't talked about this at all off air, via text, nothing. Colorado State transfer quarterback
Mm.
Braden Fowler Nicolosi, 28 game starter, threw for over 6,000 yards, 38 touchdowns across his 4-year career with Colorado State. This was a need after
Yep.
Mikey Keene and Davis Warren both transferred out
And
of the
Jaden
program.
Davis.
Jaden Davis, there's like nobody there except for incoming true freshman.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, this had to be addressed. And this is the exact kind of guy that you want. A proven commodity out there, not going to really threaten Bryce Underwood, going to be okay with being the backup. We will see him next year. He will play snaps. And I think this is an upgrade. We never got to see Mikey Keene by no fault of his own, but
Yeah.
this could be an upgrade even over Mikey Keene. This is a good backup quarterback.
This is a smart roster move. Like, this is
Yeah.
just not putting all your eggs in one basket, but still keeping your quarterback confident, empowered, letting know he's the guy. I think you could see him a little bit this year in several different ways because Jason Beck likes to do different things. And like, if he doesn't want to run Bryce as much at times, he could bring in this guy to carry the rock. Like, he doesn't have a ton of experience. Like, we'll see what the athleticism is there, but just to take some hits away from your quarterback to keep that true triple option alive in this RPO heavy scheme, I think that's an advantage. Also, Beck has shown he'll run the crazy 2 quarterback system at times as well, just to give different looks and just try to manipulate a defense. So having a guy with experience, I think this is such a smart move. So much better than last season when they added what was his name? The East Carolina quarterback I hated.
Oh
Um,
God, Garcia.
Jake Garcia. Oh yeah, thank God. This is so much better than that. So in a much
Yeah.
better place in there. I like having this to back up Bryce and just be a leader in the room as well. He understands it. Reminds me very much of like the Allen Bowman. Like you bring in Bowman, he understands his role in the system, or the quarterback from Indiana. Um,
I don't know
he
who
was
you're
our wide
referring
receivers
to.
coach for a little bit.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
Jack
I don't
Tuttle.
know who we're
Jack
talking.
Tuttle.
Oh, the Tuttle Shuttle. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Tuttle shuttle. Yeah, so bringing
We had
him
a
in
great
there.
time with that.
We did have a great time. So yeah, very similar to that. Get a guy in here. He's done it before. I think it's a great addition to the room at large. Next one just came down the pike today. I'm not going to pronounce this name. You cannot make me. It is Houston from Nebraska. His last name, it's something hyphen Torres. I know that much. And again, I talked about like the need at the room earlier with Jake Guarnera. I think bringing another body in there really just adds some much needed depth because when you look at this room on the interior, it's Guarnera, it's Nathan Afobe, it's Brady Norton. You lose Crippen, Caden Strayhorn, a young one to Bama, which hurts. Gol Hottie, and then it's a lot of tackles you hope that can kick inside. So bringing this guy in brings a more natural interior play, which I think is going to help this offense.
Yeah, Houston Aina Torres coming
Nice job.
over, and I gave it my best shot there. I have been clamoring for us to go get a center
Yep.
for a couple of years now, and this guy can play center, much like Guarnera, or he could play guard. So this is massive. So between this guy and Guarnera, we're in a better spot in the center of this offensive line than we were previously. These are two guys that are going to add size, physicality, toughness, depth. There's, yeah, like you mentioned, some guys likely kicking in. Evan Link looking at you,
Yep.
and we'll see what it ends up rounding out at the guard position. But this is a great start. This offensive line with some of these other guys that are coming back. We haven't mentioned the Brady Nortons, the Blake Fraziers, who are coming back because they never entered their name into the portal. But that's a deep room. There's proven talent. There's a mixture of highly recruited guys. Andy Babs still being on board. You still have your
Yes.
star. There's an outgoing one we'll talk about here at some point. That's a bummer, but there's plenty of tackles and now some interior guys. So I like what I'm seeing on this offensive line.
You couple in Jim Harding with a projected offensive line of like Andrew Babalola, Blake Frazier moving to guard, Jake Guarnera, Evan Link, Andrew Sprague, and then you have guys like Nathan Afobe, Brady Norton, Houston from Nebraska, in this room with how much Jason Beck likes to run 6 offensive linemen and pound the rock. This is a much better offensive line. And honestly, like just star for star, recruit for recruit, one of the most talented we've had at Michigan in a while.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And that is even with Ty Haywood transferring to Alabama,
Hurts.
which it is a bummer. I was really excited to see what Ty Haywood could be. There were glimpses of him being really good, and I think he will go forth and be good at Alabama. But yeah, the rest of this offensive line has filled out nicely. And with Sprague coming back,
That's the
kind of
one.
makes
Yeah.
sense. It kind of makes sense that Haywood's like, all right, I mean, I can probably beat Sprague, but I know I can go into Alabama and likely start because they might lose both their tackles this year.
They couldn't run the ball for shit last year, so they need help.
No, they need help all over the place. They sure do. Yep. Yeah, and I mean Ty Haywood I mentioned there, but how about this package deal here? And these were some of the first ones to come across. The specialist, freshman kicker Troy Butkowski, Nico Crawford, the long snapper from Pitt, and then UNLV punter Cameron Brown. So
Wow.
right out of the gate, they go get the specialist, which, like you mentioned in our text thread, very Harbaugh-esque thing to do. Not sexy, but had to do it. Particularly with Zavada moving on to the NFL.
Yeah, it was a very football guy move that he addressed specialist, left tackle, and quarterback right away. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
they get this. Like they really
Yeah.
understand what it is. And having Kerry Coombs come in, we saw the returns immediately on investment. Going from JB Brown to Kerry Coombs cannot be overstated how important that is and how much it's going to help us win football games. The fact that we just know the third side of the ball is no longer a wash.
Yeah, it goes from, like, dating a weed whacker that's wearing a blouse to dating Jennifer Aniston. Like, it's a bit of an upgrade.
A
Like,
weed whacker.
wouldn't be very pleasant, would it?
No, no, it wouldn't. It's exactly what it was. It definitely inflicted a lot more pain on us.
Just whacking you in the face every time you go in to be intimate. It's terrible. Oh, man. Where do you wanna go next, brother?
Um,
We're getting into it now. I mean, I think we've hit on the really impactful ones.
Yeah, I think we've hit on most of the big ones. I guess we should hit on this one as well because it feels kind of like a 2 for 1. The fight's not over, but TJ and Tevis Metcalf both entering the transfer portal. That's immediately going to impact your depth because TJ you thought would start next season.
Pretty
Tevis you
good.
thought was a nice corner depth piece to bring back into the room. So losing both of those certainly impacts the way your roster looks. Maybe not just next year, but like a year and a year past that.
Yeah, actually, the TJ one, that's really a good call. Probably more important than the long snapper. TJ Metcalf's a good player.
He
Like
is a good
I
player.
like TJ Metcalf. I like what I saw from him, and that's the kind of transfer you need to hit on. So likely still need to go into the transfer portal and get some defensive back help. Shamari Earls, notably, not in the transfer portal.
And
So
Jordan Deck's still in the recruiting pipeline, which I'm very high on.
yeah, absolutely. And our boy Kano Winston still on this team. So
Yeah.
there's guys. There's guys
Your
there.
boy Jacob
And
Oden.
Jacob Oden. We're
You
not
got it.
dead yet. We're
Uh-huh.
not dead yet. There's still chance. Yeah, Brandon Hillman. I think we mentioned, but this is about the right place for the Brandon Hillman transfer out to go. You're probably just happy with this. For me, I had an irrational love of his
That's
play style, but it was as someone who also appreciates competent defensive back play, it was extremely frustrating at times.
Yeah, you just didn't get you got the splashy plays, but you also got some really bad negative plays at times too. And it like there was not a balance there to like, okay, he does this, but he does this great. It just didn't the scales didn't add up in that situation. So this isn't too devastating, especially with some of the depth there. The Rod Moore piece is fascinating. I don't know how to comprehend that. I'm still kind of working my way through it. Like we thought we had him this year, but he was out. He played a game and a half and was
Had
outstanding.
an interception. Yeah.
Had an interception, a huge tackle, looked like he hadn't missed a step, and then was out again. So I don't know how to process that, but assuming some more time off, it'll help him heal up and get back to true form, which he deserves. Because I'm really rooting for Rod Moore to do that. And I think again will help mitigate the loss of Brandon Hillman. And probably the last one for me, I'm going to mention it really just because of depth, and that is linebacker Jaden Hood transferring. He
Yeah.
was this season was taken away from him due to injury, but he had gotten on the field in big moments in 2024, including against Ohio State. Could have been like a nice piece in this room, especially in the rotation, because you look at the room right now and it's like Owusu Boateng, Troy Bowles, Chase Taylor, end of
A little
list.
undersized. Yeah. A little
Yeah. And
undersized
it's like
there.
you want somebody with a little more experience in there as well. He could have been a guy to jump in. So losing Jaden Hood on top of Cole Sullivan and Jimmy Rolder and Ernest Hausman, who medically retired. The most bizarre story of the season that we haven't discussed because our coach threatened to kill himself with a butter knife, but it is it's a loss for this team moving forward. Like they have to replace it, and I expect them to add a linebacker. Also, Tony Alford has a nephew apparently that played linebacker somewhere. I think at BYU last year that might come over. So the Alford family continue to giveth via the portal.
Yeah, bring him in. Bring him
Come
in. You
on,
got any
bring all the
cousins?
Alfords.
Distant uncles? What do we got? Because
Come
we
on.
could use them. At least that linebacker. Yeah, the last two names here: Peyton O'Leary, beloved Michigan Wolverine, your boy, out,
Yep.
and then Fred Moore transferred to Michigan State. Go be
Go be
mediocre,
mid.
Fred. Yeah, go be mid. Good on you there. And then that's it, man. Those are the big ones. Like we said, we didn't touch on off the top the fact that Jordan Marshall, Andy Babs, Andrew Marsh, Blake Frazier, Sprague, and Underwood all reaffirmed commitments to this team early on.
It's so
Probably the
impressive.
headliner. We didn't lead with that, but because they were never in the portal and we don't know how much danger there ever really was there. But incredible work by this staff to retain the core of this team, particularly the core of this offense, to retain your defensive backs. Let's go now to top remaining needs. And I think you hit it now. The position that I was literally banging a drum for, bring back Sullivan, get an extra year for Rolder, build out from your linebacker core. Now a big gaping donut hole at linebacker.
You just don't like having this inexperience. The one thing I will say that's encouraging is sophomore year is normally the leap year for linebackers.
NOB, baby.
You look at
NOB.
exactly. You look at Devin Bush, you look at Junior Colson. That's the year. That's the one where they step up and take off. So I think we could see a big year from Owusu Boateng. I love they kept him, man. I think that's
Yeah.
so
You
important for
know
this
that's my
staff.
boy. Like
That's your
that's
guy. That is
all
your
in
guy.
now.
So
Now
I
we're a
think
little over leveraged. Now the stock has to hit.
the stock has to hit. So I think that was so big. Chase Taylor was good. Like it was good last season in reps, getting on the field as a freshman, and Troy Bowles more important than ever. But they need a guy there. They need a vet. They need a senior
A
coming there
big thumper,
for the
middle
last right.
linebacker.
Absolutely. They just need a guy in that room that can help out. I don't know who that is yet. We'll see. The cycle is far from over because, I mean, this is just the last week they can enter, barring a last second coaching change, but they can always transfer later in the cycle. As we've seen, we saw Yabi Oki join the
Yeah.
team, 3 days before the season
Game
a couple
week.
years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah. So, like, a lot of stuff to still be sorted out through, but linebacker, I think, is the right place to start.
It 100% is. And there was the linebacker, number one linebacker from Pitt, was visiting Michigan, ended up signing with Texas. Had we have got him, that would have been a great start to this thing.
Yeah.
Owusu Boateng is going to start. Troy Bowles showed me some stuff this year. I
Troy
really
Bowles is
like
good.
what he could do.
Yeah.
He's good. Like, that's a good player, but there has to be depth. You need another starter out there. So it's probably 2 linebackers at least, I think you need to get. I mean, honestly, I think you need to hit it twice, double dip on this one.
I wonder how much we're going to rely on depth like we used to, because it's a complete turning of the page. And you look at a team like Miami that's in the national championship that just plays their starters. That's it. That's how most teams do. So you wonder if you just get one more, then you at least have a 2 deep solidified as you get some freshmen developed.
That's what I was going to say. You at least have to have a 2 deep out there,
Or
which we can't even run out there right now. Who do we got for our freshman class? Let me see coming in on the all name team. I'll pull it up.
Hear me out though. So we Zeke Berry, Jordan Young, Jair Hill, Rod Moore, Shamari Earls, JoJo Edmonds returning, which could be a developing piece to watch, especially with the new coaching staff. Could Mason Curtis play linebacker? Is this the move?
If where we think his future is, I would consider it. I think that's where his pro
I think that helps the
future
team.
is. I think he's a good tackler. I think he's probably a better tackler than he is in coverage. But then you go from being an okay safety in coverage to being a linebacker that's quite good in coverage. So to answer your question, yes, I absolutely would consider that move. Coming in as far as linebackers, Aiden Reeder, 6'3", 210 out of Cincinnati. Potential there. 6'3", 210. If he can put on weight early on, yeah. Tariq Boney listed at edge, but he's 6'1", 235. That'd be interesting. And then Caden Catchings, 6'2", 220 at linebacker. Markel Dabney. Yeah, no, there's names here, actually. Yeah. There's more names than you thought. Markel Dabney, Caden Catchings, Tariq Boney, like I said, edge, but that looks like a linebacker to me, and then Aiden Reeder. So these guys get a real opportunity now. Real opportunity as freshmen. Not a position I love to play freshmen in, but it's not unheard of.
No, but if we could get a transfer in, we solidify the 2 deep, and then you can get these guys developed. Gives you a little bit more time, a little longer leash. Then it's like you're just worrying about getting to the 3rd string before you have to put a freshman on the field. And we were putting freshmen on the field last year. Because our linebackers week 1 were Jayshon Barham and Ernest Hausman.
Not how it ended.
Not how it ended. So this could be the start of something different. We'll see how the position coaches do. We know Whittingham's past is development. As we talked at the top, it's kind of coming in vogue again.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do you think we need to go next? Linebacker number 1, kind of with a bullet, and then where do you go?
So before we got Houston from Nebraska, I had interior offensive line next, but I have to agree with what you have here at defensive tackle. I think that it speaks to what the program's doing as well. There's a big push to retain Eno Etta, get him back in this room, and just help solidify that with a player with several years of experience, a high recruitment pedigree to build upon. Because besides that, it gets just really slim fast with a lot of guys you don't know. And you don't want to have to rely on Alistair Vallejo and Titan Davis that much as true freshmen.
I agree with you. Yeah, Titan Davis, who we're both extremely high on,
both guys,
as a true freshman. Yeah, no, Vallejo PD. You working with Vallejo PD on this one? Can't wait. We're going to do a little movie talk at the end of this episode as well, so stick around for that. I'm with you. Defensive tackle, go get another one. Even if you retain Etta, go get another one. This is a place where you do want to have depth. This is a great place to rotate. All the great Michigan teams have done so. After that, I don't necessarily feel as strong about anything. I floated tight end to you, but you're the tight end guru. You seem pretty confident with what we've got in-house to not go get somebody else here.
Yeah, I like a lot of names here. We've seen a lot before. Thanks, sweetie. Wife just brought me a beer.
God bless it.
Got to freshen up down here. Using a cup she got me too. I like the room a lot, man. I like Zach Marshall. I like what we saw from Deacon Tonielli. Hogan Hansen's in the name. You still got to keep healthy to build upon there. But I like those 3 guys a lot, not to mention Jalen Hoffman, who I still think is being slept on as the next Max Bredesen. And then you want to get past him, it's Eli Owens, who can fill in that space as well. And like if you're looking at this like a salary cap, tight ends ones I'm going to come to last because I have a lot of guys there I'm very excited about and I can see the future.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Also, incoming freshman Mason Bonner from out here in Denver, 6'6", 200 pounds. So that's a very reasonable assessment that you could probably spend that money and recruiting energy elsewhere. I looked at defensive back. You know, I know you brought back your two guys, but you lose Jaden Sanders, Shamari Earls. Come on down. It's your time, but getting some depth there with the loss of Travis and TJ. But if you get the Metcalf boys back, I think you're good at defensive back.
I think that would help a lot too. Now, hear me out on this one.
Okay.
Edge. Do we need another edge?
Wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't hurt. Nate Marshall, like I think some people are just assuming greatness there. I'm like, okay,
I,
based
I
on
mean
what?
this with
Carter Meadows year one?
yeah, and I mean this with love. Nate Marshall doesn't know what he's doing on the field. Like he knows how to rush the passer and that's it. Like he does not understand gap discipline, setting an edge. He has a long way to go in terms of development and being a 3-down type of player. So knowing that, and then it's like Dom Nichols, Cam Brandt, is that setting your hair on fire next to John Henry?
If you can go get like a starter, I would go get a starter. If you're
I think so
getting
too.
depth, it's like, well, wouldn't you rather just put Nate Marshall out there and let him grow in the system
I
and
want a vet.
see what you can get? Yeah, like I would go get a vet.
Yep.
If you're just going to get another highly recruited guy, well, then you might lose Marshall or
That's the
Meadows
thing.
or Lugard, Ed Gopoyi, or one of those guys that are still sticking around. You're talking about a guy that hasn't shown much, like Lugard. I have no idea what we have there.
Yeah, he was honestly, it's unfortunate his name is Lugard because it just fits comedy so well. It's like Lugard minutes next, like he's in the 2 deep. Uh, but like Carter Meadows, could he out of the freshmen here? Who do you think on defense? Because I think that's where we're going to need somebody to step up. Who do you think could be the most impactful freshman on this roster?
Titan Davis? Titan Davis and Vallejo, but like at defensive line, I mean, look, we just saw Mason Graham come in and do it.
It's true.
But aside from that, it's pretty rare
Yeah.
that true freshman defensive tackles can come in and handle the physicality of the Big Ten right out of the gate. Those are my favorite prospects, but like Carter Meadows is a pretty special type of athlete and physically just different. So I wouldn't rule it out that Carter Meadows could come in and do what we thought Nate Marshall was going to do when he came in and had an impactful pass rush here and there. But it's like you said, man, like Carter Meadows is going to have to drink from the faucet, from the fire hose about learning how to play football and learning how to defend against the run and learning how to like all the intricacies that come with playing on the defensive line and not just rushing the passer. I'm a little higher on Vallejo and Titan Davis as football players year one.
Breaking news live on the podcast. Michigan has just received BYU transfer Max Alford, Tony Alford's nephew from BYU, linebacker, 6'1", 230, had 63 tackles and 1 sack during his career there. So
Let's go.
getting
The
somebody with
Alford
some
family.
getting somebody with some experience. Also, I'm looking at some other names here. A lot of stuff happening because this is every time we talk,
This is how
something
it's been,
changes.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Utah incoming 5-star athlete wide receiver Salase Moa has entered the transfer portal with a do not contact tag.
Ooh.
Where does his
Does
receiver
that mean
coach?
something?
Where does his receiver coach and head coach he normally committed to? Where do they coach now?
Oh, interesting. Okay,
That
man. Like, all
changes
right,
things.
we're gonna have to check back in on this as we're wrapping up the pod. The news has been coming insanely fast, man. Like
Insanely
it's hard
fast.
for me to like stay focused at work because you're just refreshing the feed, waiting to see what else is happening, especially over the last 3-4 days. That's big, you know.
Mo is a
Linebacker,
stud, man. Mo is a stud.
Moa changes things. Alford at linebacker, I think more depth piece. I'll
More-
have to do some work on it,
Yeah,
but
more
like,
depth, but experience, which I like,
yeah.
especially with Jay Hill.
We need it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, and he knows Jay Hill. So expect to see him. I would expect to see him. Like we'll see who else is yet to come in the transfer portal. But that experience with that familiarity, that sounds like a guy that'll see the field in some capacity next year.
Yeah, it's crazy. All this came through all at once, but it's coming together, man. Like I'm starting to feel really excited about this team, and
Yes.
I don't know, and it's just different. It feels very 2015 with Harbaugh, where it's like, oh, we're getting this piece. Oh, we're getting this piece. We're moving here. We're keeping the class together. We're doing different things. Like, I don't really know what to expect, but I know where the bar is, and it's very high.
Yes, I'm with you there. So, updated strength of this team, I don't think it's changed from last week. I still think that it is going to be this offense and particularly their ability to run the
Yeah,
football. I think,
dude.
yeah, and like the passing game improved. This is a much better group of pass catchers. We assume improvement from Bryce Underwood. This offense, I believe, has top 5 offense in the country ceiling. Legitimately, I'm not just saying that as a Michigan fan.
I'm gonna give you some support on this one. So last year in adjusted QBR, which is a better way than just raw QBR because what does it do? What's the difference? It factors out, yeah, all play types based on strength of schedule. So it gets out some of the
Oh,
weaker
okay.
opponents in there. Devin Dampier, where do you think he ranked in the country?
Say the stat again though. Sorry, I was trying to follow along.
Adjusted QPR, adjusted QBR, which is only adjusted based on strength of schedule. So it gets rid of some of the group of 5 teams.
Top top 30.
7th.
Wow.
Devin Dampier
Okay.
was 7th in QBR. The only people ahead of him were the 3 Heisman Trophy finalists, Jaden Mayava, Trinidad Chambliss, and Gunnar Stockton. He was ahead of CJ Carr. He was ahead of Carson Beck, Haynes King, Dante Moore, all those names. And Devin Dampier is not a pass. He is a wildcat
No.
quarterback at best. At
Yeah.
best. He's a natural runner. He's a 5'11 stud athlete, and that's what Jason Beck developed with him. So now you give him a quarterback who is a true dual threat and can do things through the air and on the ground. The efficiency is going to be off the charts, I think, this season with Bryce Underwood and this offense, this offensive line, coaching staff continuity, and so many pieces surrounding it.
What else do you think this team is going to be good at
Special teams.
based on what we know now? Yeah,
Special
that's a good
teams.
call out. I like
I
that.
I think
I'm
we're going to
with
be
you there.
I think And if you can win 2 sides of the football, you're gonna be in a hell of a lot of games. Start
Sure
right
will.
there. Like, you're gonna be in a hell of a lot of games. Defensively, we have some stuff we need to address in the front 7.
Yeah.
We have to fix some
Run
things up there.
defense
Run
concerns me.
run defense for sure, but, like, we have 2 starting corners right now. We have Rod Moore still back there. You have Mason Curtis,
Shamari Earls,
Shamari
Jordan
Earls,
Young.
Jordan Young. You have a lot of pieces you
Yep.
like. If we can shore up the middle of that defense at linebacker, defensive tackle a little bit, those are the missing pieces. But I know for sure this offense is going to be able to run the hell out of the ball. We're going to be able to
Yep.
pass efficiently, and we're going to be able to play good special teams. And you win a
Yeah,
lot of
which
games that
is
way.
dramatically different outlook than this year, where the offense was once again bear to watch. Special teams was ungodly, unwatchable. It's going to be night and day looking difference, and hopefully the defense doesn't fall off a cliff. I trust Jay Hill to figure it out. The portal is nowhere near done. So, like,
No,
we could absolutely
like,
shore up. And even if we don't get the biggest hits, if they can just get some rotational guys that can come out and play, I don't think it'll be a disaster on defense. Too much competency, too much returning talent,
yep.
and a great coaching staff for it to be a disaster on defense. I refuse to believe this is going to be like a 70th in the country defense, number 60 defense in the country. I don't see that happening.
Doesn't it feel like it feels like 2015, doesn't it? Where you have like the adult in the room, the competent head coach, where you just trust them to develop the guys. Like you just know they're going to rise it up there. With like Sharon, the last 2 years was really good at talent acquisition, but you and I talked so much about where's the development of these positions? Where's the next step? Where is because with Harbaugh, it was just such a sure thing. You knew they were going to get better. But with Whittingham at the helm, you trust these guys to get the most out of them and to like just raise the bar for them. So like where the ceiling is just so much higher than it used to be.
I'm with you, brother. I got stopped in a Home Depot, great place for a football conversation, by the
Yes.
way, by a guy wearing my Michigan hoodie. And he's like, "What do you think about Whittingham?" He's like, "Think that's a good hire?" And I was like, "I think it's a great hire. I think it's the best
Great.
possible hire there is." Then all of a sudden we're in the plumbing aisle, just going deep on Jason Beck offense. It was great. I love it.
I talked to a lawyer that works in the kind of insurance and financial space a little bit, and really on like more TCPA class action lawsuits to really get the nitty gritty of it. But he also has a newsletter where he likes to talk a little college ball, and he and I are good friends about it. And he said, "I can't believe you lucked into Kyle Whittingham." He's a Tennessee fan,
Failing
and he's
forward. Yeah,
lifelong college football fan. He said it was the best coaching hire of the cycle. He said,
easily.
you would think about it being Lane Kiffin, but Lane Kiffin kind of feels like the pretty girl you're dating. And it's like, she looking at somebody else, she moving on. What is she doing? He's like, Kyle Whittingham was the best hire of the cycle, and you got him last.
Do you think Ole Miss fans are thinking at all about Lane Kiffin anymore?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. They showed that they can get by just fine without him. Now, some of that is his ability to recruit, and those
True,
players
true.
that he brought in there, can that be matched? But yeah,
Mhm.
I'd much rather have Winningham than Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is for thee, not for me. Kind of always thought that about Kiffin.
Well,
He's fun, but yeah.
especially after what we just came out of, to be like, we're going to hire Lane Kiffin. It's like, well,
It's like, what we need is an adult in the room. So we brought this clown shoe over.
again, like you and I have touched on this a lot. Like from the beginning, we've been 2 feet, 10 toes, everything down on Kyle Whittingham. But like this makes me feel even better in it. The fact that he can hit the ground running so much to retain these players, understand what it is at Michigan, get the recruiting class retained is the most impressive to me of all of these. Like
Very
the
impressive,
minimal
man.
loss there was impressive.
I mean, and to retain the Jordan Marshalls, the entire offensive line, both your cornerbacks. This is outstanding work
Yeah,
already. Hasn't
outstanding.
coached it down at Michigan, and it's an outstanding job already by this staff. Let's see how they round it out. It's been fun. It's been extremely exciting this last week, just following. I mean, because this could have been an awful week. This could have been the week from hell where it's like, all right, Bryce Underwood to LSU. There goes Andy Babs. Andrew Marsh is going to Ohio State. I hate my life. Like, it is not that. It is not that at all.
Who's the biggest loss from this class, this group?
Of this group, the biggest loss. I mean, Haynes is the best player that's
Yeah.
transferring out, but with like, I think you got to look at the forest for the trees a little bit there. Cole Sullivan, probably
Yeah,
for
I
me.
think so. Cole Sullivan,
Yeah.
then probably Jaden Sanders, to be honest, just because
Yeah.
of the future, how much he would have played as the third corner. See if he develops into a nickel and could get on the field this year more. But yeah, I think it starts with those guys. But
Yeah, I'm with you. And producer Tony's pretty sad about Ty Haywood, which I get it. That's a large human being that moves
it's
uncomfortably fast.
we knew we were going to take a loss in tackle, though. We said too
Had
many
to
on the
happen.
roster.
When Sprague came back, I was like, that probably means Haywood's gone. Like, there's
Yeah.
no reason if you're Haywood to come back and battle with Sprague. Although I think Haywood probably would have beat him, but it is.
I don't know if he would have beat him or not. Like,
I don't know, but I'm just guessing. That's just a guess.
it would have been a flat out competition, though.
Go watch Zodiac so you can understand our Vallejo references.
Please do.
That's gonna do it for us. Thanks, producer Tony, for sticking out for 3 hours here to do this one with you. Long night for Tone. Luckily, you don't have to edit this one, and don't worry about any social media for this movie stuff. This one was for us, but hopefully y'all enjoyed it. And really appreciate everyone for a great year. I'm excited to kick off this year. This has been fun, and the way the news is coming, we should have another loaded podcast for you next week. We are back into the regular routine. These will be out every Tuesday. Check us out on YouTube, all the socials. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram, Out of the Blue Sports. Come check us out. Tony's doing great work over on TikTok. I am Jared. That is Andy and producer Tony. We would like to remind you here at Out of the Blue that wherever you go, go blue.